By ons in die ateljee, advokaat Michael Masuta, die minister van Justisie. Minister, thank you very much for joining us on this day, which has been a very busy day for you. First of all, if I can ask you, what's the difference between Eugene de Kock and Clive Lewis in your estimation and in the thought process that went into this?
Well, I actually don't take into account any particular commonalities that may exist between cases. I deal with each case on its merits, and that's the approach that I took.
In granting parole to Eugene de Kock, you said that you do this in the interest of reconciliation and nation building. How heavy does the imperative of nation building and reconciliation weigh in making this decision?
In my view, that is the byproduct, I believe, one of the byproducts of the decision we have taken. Obviously, there are people in society who feel strongly, both black and white, that it is time to let bygones be bygones and move on in society. Certainly, the TRC process was intended to achieve that. Of course, under that process, Mr. Eugene de Kock did receive amnesty on some of his offences. Unfortunately, some of the offences he committed were not, he didn't receive amnesty for them, and that resulted in him serving the sentences that he served with us.
How do you see his role now in the outside world?
Well, he's already started assisting with that, because you recall that one of the reasons that I gave for my earlier decision not to grant him parole was because victims or their families had not been engaged as required by the law in the processes that were followed by both the parole board and the NCCS. On profile, I couldn't find evidence of that, and upon probing, I discovered that indeed that had not happened, because we have to have a balanced attitude towards handling crime by looking not only at the rights of offenders but also looking at the rights of victims, and that was the principled position that informed our decision at the time. Subsequent to that, though, there has since been a lot of cooperation shown by him, a lot of commitment to reconciling with the families of victims and even assisting the Missing Persons Task Team and the NPA in locating the remains of victims and so on. So we believe that he has shown bona fides.
So in some quarters, Clive Lewis will now be perceived as a martyr for certain political reasons. Is government aware of the fact that he might become a martyr, and that if he dies in prison, that could again inflame certain groups? The political commentator Max de Pre this morning said that the apartheid government refused to let Advocate Bram Fischer go when he was very sick. Do you think there are similarities between that? Do you think that government should be aware of the fact that Darby Lewis could also become some form of a martyr for certain quarters?
I believe that the legal requirements stipulated in the applicable law are very objective and reasonable. Secondly, I believe that the doctors, including the doctor that treated him, can be relied upon, his opinion can be relied upon to the effect that he is still stage 3 and improving. And of course, the objective facts seem to point in that direction. Certainly in July last year, that was the finding of the Medical Parole Board in terms of its majority. You know, anybody can pass on any day for whatever reason, and a person who is less sick could, contrary to everybody's expectation, pass on, and the person who's very sick live much longer than the doctors have projected.